happy Saturday to you. I hope you are having a great Saturday and a great weekend so far. I want to welcome you to the show. My name is Don Terrell, and this is the Color of Motion, where I like to say, hey, stories come in all shades. And I highlight people of color in diverse backgrounds in the industry of motion graphics, animation, visual effects, cartoons, and comics. This space that I'm just ecstatically crazy about. Again, I want to welcome you to the show. You know the drill. Make sure you hop in. Jump into the comments, let me know where you're tuning in from so I can give you the shout out that, you so richly deserve. Make sure that you give ECAM permission to pull your information. You know, I always like to say I want to make sure that I call people out by name, and sometimes it doesn't come through, just comes in as user. So if you give ECAM permission, I should be able to see your name. Again, let me know where you're tuned in from. I'm trying to make sure everything is playing on all the channels. Not exactly sure about LinkedIn. I'm not, I am seeing the broadcast on the events, but it's not showing up on my homepage for some reason. So I want to make sure that it is playing on LinkedIn. But so jump in, say hello, and I can, like I said, give you the shout out you so richly deserve. Also, make sure that you hop on over to the Facebook group community, facebook.com/groups/the color of motion. Get plugged in. We're having a lot of fun over there. The group is growing. And so I don't want you to miss out. We're sharing a lot of industry news and just having all around fun for sure. Mr. Carringer, appreciate that came in kind of small. Mr. Carringer, I appreciate you tuning in there, brother, as always, and checking out the show. So thank you for that. Again, like I said, if you haven't joined the group, make sure that, like I said, you hop on over to facebook.com/the groups, become a part of it, and engage with us. Mr. DeMille, I appreciate you there, brother. As always, supporting the show. I know that you're looking for, this is going to be a great show. I've been looking forward to it. Today, you have two for the price of one. It's two guests on today, so I know you'll be happy with that for sure. I know I am. Also, I definitely want to hear from you, so connect with me on all my social channels. You can find them right here. Definitely want to hear from you. Let me know what you think of the show, who you might want me to try and get on, or just say hello. So you can find me on all those channels right there. And like I said, connect with me. As I told you earlier, we do stream live to LinkedIn, YouTube, the Facebook pages and groups. But I always kind of highly suggest that people hop on over to the YouTube channel, subscribe, hit the bell notification, get plugged in there. You can check out a lot of great content. Plus, you can also see a lot of the other guests that we've had on the show for sure. So definitely hop on over there. Check out the channel and support it. My goal is I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Halfway there, and I definitely could use your help in doing that for sure. So I want the channel to grow, putting up a lot of great content, plan on putting up even more. So don't hesitate to be a part of that. Like I said, I'm super excited not only for our guest today, but today, at the end of the episode, I'm going to be announcing the winners of the contest that the giveaway that we've been having the last couple of weeks with our new sponsor, Toon Boom Animation. So we picked the winners last night, so I'll be announcing the winners of two of the giveaways that we are doing: a 1-year subscription to Harmony 21 and a 1-year subscription to Storyboard Pro, their amazing software that they gave us to give away in celebration of their partnership with us. So super excited to be announcing that at the end of the episode. So make sure you hang on. Being part of it, you may have been called if you got into it, but like I said, we picked the two winners. I know they're going to be super excited to get their hands on the software. I am super excited to be giving it away for sure. Like I said, we're getting new sponsors on, but if you're one of those ones that would like to support the channel, support the show, hey, I love a great cup of coffee. Who doesn't? Who doesn't love a great cup of coffee? Buymeacoffee.com/Don Terrell. You can donate whatever, you see fit. We also have a membership there where we're putting private content for the members there. It's $5 a month or $50 for the year. Like I said, you can definitely use your support to help me to continue to level up the show for sure. Like I said, I just told you about one of our new sponsors, Toon Boom Animation, but I always like to give a shout out to our sponsor for today's episode, DG Graphics. They put all the graphics, the animations, the overlays. They make our show look great. If you are a business or brand that's looking to level up your brand design or start your own live stream show, they can definitely help you there. So reach out to DG Graphics and give them a shout. So, man, like I said, I know you're looking forward to this episode. I am as well. Like I said, you have a 2-for-1 shot today. Mother and daughter team, and so looking forward to having them on. They're doing some awesome things, and can't wait to share that with you. With that, I think we can dive in for sure. Let's see. Before I do, I want to definitely throw some comments up on the channel. Yes, the website should be up next week. Super excited about that. Once that is up, that is another place where you'll be able to check out the live show. We'll be streaming live from the website as well. I just told you about the giveaways that I'll be announcing at the end of the show for sure. So definitely hang on for that as well. Super looking forward to that. With that, we're going to get started with this. Like I said, I've been looking forward to having my next guests on ever since I reached out and connected with them, doing some super amazing things over in Johannesburg, South Africa. So I have to say, it is amazingly late over there. So I'm thanking them so much for hanging in with me doing a live show, because it's like 10 o'clock at night there. So this is not going to be an extremely long episode because I definitely want to respect the fact that there's a big time difference for sure. Mr. Michael, I appreciate you tuning in. Super looking forward to your event that you got, Gameathon coming up for sure. Another African connection. So I can't thank him enough for tuning in as well. My next guest, Dr. Tshepo, is a qualified medical doctor turned, AKA Dr. T. So I'm just going to go Dr. T. Is a qualified medical doctor turned producer, co-founder and director of medical animations at Cabblow Studios, an award-winning illustrations and animation studio and trailblazers in medical animations. Cabblow Studios is founded and led by a mother and daughter team. Kabelo Maaka is the founder, creative director, lead animator at Cabblow Studios, based in Johannesburg, South Africa. They have to date produced 3 short films on diabetes, 3 teaspoons, which you're going to see. I'm going to show their demo reel. You'll be able to check it out. 3 teaspoons of sugar, when it's risky, and little teaspoon of sugar. They are passionate about growing the animation industry in South Africa through Cabblow Studios Residency program, coupled with their Cabblow Studio Business of Animation podcast, available wherever podcasts are streamed. Their films are films with a purpose as they endeavor to use the medium of animation to edutain. Please, everybody, help me welcome my very special guests and friends, uh, Miss Dr. T and her daughter, Kabelo.
I'm sure you can do the sound right. Thanks for having us.
I am super excited about having you ladies on the show. Thank you so much for joining me. And again, thank you because I know, like I just said, that it is late over there.
No, we are very happy to be here. Thank you so much for having us. Thank you for
No.
having us. We will stay awake and alert for this.
And they just told me before the show they are drinking hot chocolate to keep themselves awake. I don't know. Like I said, that must be some strong hot chocolate.
It's the sugar. It's the sugar.
It's the sugar. Oh my God. And we're going to dive into that because you're doing some animations on sugar. So I would think is a issue over there with diabetes and sugar.
In small doses.
Well, like I said, I want to get this started. I've been so looking forward to, like I said, ever since I saw what you ladies in Cabblow Studios was doing, reached out and connected with you. Been so looking forward to having you on the show. Um, uh, Dr. T, I want to start with you. At what point did you decide to kind of start using animation? Like you said, you're a medical doctor. So at what point did you kind of, it clicked for you? Oh, wow, I can use animation to kind of educate people medically wise.
I think I trained in anesthesiology, putting people to sleep during operations, right? And public health management. So when people would ask me, what does an anesthetist do? And they would ask me so many times, and I would explain and explain. This was even before my daughter graduated as an animator. And then once she became an animator, I thought, you know what? Let's try this thing. Let's try and do and explain what an anesthetist does because people just see you and then you give them a huge bill and then afterwards you're gone. So you don't spend like for instance, a pregnant lady sees their gynecologist for 9 months. But with me, if they're coming for a cesarean section, a C-section, they only see me for just that one day. So for me, that was the first time that I realized that I could use animation to explain simply what I do. And then I realized that it actually works well for medical concepts. That's the first thing. The second reason why I got involved in animation was because I'm a mom. I became I became Chris Jenner, helping the Kardashians take kids because I realized that as an artist, it's very important to understand business. And because I've been medical business. I'm a doctor for 27 years. Now, I realized the need um, for the business management. And so at the beginning, I was like, you know what, let's do medical animation, low hanging fruit. I can get clients in the pharmaceutical industry because I'm there. And then I realized, no, I can't just get her client. I need to be there to hold her hand so that I can bring authenticity when she creates content for the medical industry, for the pharmaceutical industry, and also give them comfort that you should be able to create something that's for them. So I came in really as a mom that wanted to support her daughter.
Then you ended up being a producer.
And I ended up being a producer. It was never, ever, ever my intention to be in animation at all.
So, well, obviously, Camilla, you had no notions of going into medical, you know.
No.
So,
I
were
was like,
you
maybe I should-
always, I mean, were you always artistically, that was the route that you kind of wanted to go, artistically wise?
Yes, and it's honestly amazing that my mom embraced that the fact that I was artistic, that I was drawing all over your textbooks. I'm so sorry. Um, so she took me seriously when we watched. We used to watch a lot of DVDs, and in fact, I enjoyed watching DVDs more than going to the cinema because then I got to see the behind the scenes and I got to see how animation was actually made. And when I watched the making of Finding Nemo, actually, and I saw how they made the water and how
Yeah.
3D animation worked and how it's actually all manufactured by humans, it's not magic. I was like, this. I don't know what this is called, but this is what I want to do. And so then we went on this journey of learning that it's actually called animation and that there are all these departments. And what I want to do is character animation and directing and learning where to study in South Africa, overseas. And she was really invested. And even when we finally decided that I'll study in South Africa, in Cape Town, and then eventually I studied in France. I went to their at two Gobla L'École de l'Image, their character animation summer school. Um, and eventually in doing all of that I decided to come back and start the company so that I wouldn't be a statistic of unemployment in South Africa. I would actually hire myself and then eventually hire other people.
Yeah.
Got
Yeah.
you.
And I
Got
just
you.
wanted to add that I think for me, I was passionate about medicine. I wanted to be a doctor at the age of 8. I became a doctor at the age of 22. She started drawing at the age of 3. And I realized the importance of the passion of doing what you like. So I did tell her, though, that if she didn't make money out of animation, I was going to take her to medical school.
So there's a drive there. So. But it
Well,
worked out.
and to that point, like I said, to that point, because the industry really is still growing over in Africa. It's not like it is here, where, like I said, they're dropping millions and millions of dollars. There's studios all over the place. It's still emerging over in Africa. So, was that something that you were thinking about, the fact that, well, maybe it's not as lucrative as it is over here in the States, but it was something, and for both of you, it was something, Cabela, for you, it was something that I wanted to do, even though, like I said, it was still kind of emerging. And for you, Dr. T, was that a concern that, the animation, even though, like I said, it's still growing over here, we're still able, there's not a lot of studios, like there is over here. Was that a concern for either one of you?
I mean, I think for me, animation has always been a global industry. I was always aware that however I'm going to enter into this industry, it's going to be international because my favorite TV show, they're not South African, they're American or they're Japanese or they're French. Um, and so in my head, I was always going to be competing globally. In realizing that South Africa is a smaller industry, it's actually quite a community. So once you're in, you 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 know who all the directors, who are all the animators, who are all the companies, and where's the most activity
Yeah.
in Johannesburg and in Cape Town. And also for us, I think we started a studio right on time because now the world is aware that diversity is important.
Yeah.
And so even recently, we got an opportunity to travel to the International Animation Festival, where we traveled with South Africa with a delegation to go and pitch some of our projects, but also we traveled with Women in Animation. We were part of their Stories by Women program. Um, and when we were at Annecy, there was a big Africa presence overall. There was Nigeria, then there was Ghana, there was us, South Africa, and I don't know, just the excitement and the hunger for the more established industries in the US and France and all of them to meet African creators and hear actually what are you guys doing in your country? What services are available? What are your skills? What sorts of stories are you trying to tell? So for us, as much as we're in a smaller industry that's not like hundreds of years old like Hollywood, it's a good time for us to be in animation because there's this awareness that
Yeah.
you know what, there's stories from elsewhere in the world. So I don't think I've ever really been worried about that at all. In terms of having income and everything, medical animation was our way to be a unique offering in the industry. And because Dr. T is in the business, it because it means medicine is inbuilt in what we do. I can go into a meeting and it's the CEO of X pharmaceutical company, and they can talk freely with their terminology and all of that, and I can explain to them how animation actually works. And there isn't like a break in communication because there's medicine built into our company. And so that's how we've been able to make ourselves unique and enter into the industry where a lot of people are competing for the same jobs. We They don't compete with us because we
Yeah.
offer a different service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll give you a shorter version to that answer, to that question. Look, I think there'll always be business in medicine. So I was never worried about, business for us, because I said to her, even though I know she was resistant to medical animation, she said, I want to make films. I want to make films. I said, yes, you make films, but medical films. So she was resistant. But I think once she got her first deal from a pharmaceutical company, she realized I was actually right. And I was also never worried about it being lucrative because I knew I put pressure on her. You don't do well, you go to medical school. So I knew she'd work hard.
As everybody can see, this is an interesting team, which brings me to my next kind of question. Just working together as a mother and daughter, it doesn't always play out well, but how is it for both of you, working together in the studio?
I think you can go
Let
first,
me,
then
let,
I'll
me- let
add.
me tell you something. People always ask us that question, and I always have to say, but is it like that moms and daughters have issues or whatever, you know? And during the day today, she was saying to me, you are such a pleasant person to be around. So, so I think for me, when I think around when she was 3 or 4, I decided to actually be a better mother, to her, to to train myself to be a better parent. And
Yeah.
I think that helped our relationship because we have a very, very good relationship. Thank God we have a very good relationship. And so working with her, I have to. There are times when I'm a mom, and there are times when I'm a business partner, and I know when to hold back, and I know when to give advice as a business partner and as a mom. So we work very well. We know each other's strength because we 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 have been so close since she was very young. I know how she works, she knows how I work, she knows my strengths and weaknesses. And so we really work well together. One of our mentors in South Africa said, we work well as a director producer. Before I knew that I had a title of a producer, so I thought a doctor was enough. But they said we work well together as producer director team, and so really we do work together, we complement each other. um the disagreements have not been that much, and I really enjoy working with everybody. Feels like I'm maybe a mom, and being a mom even in the business, no, it's a business relationship, and it's a mother and daughter relationship, separate but still together.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and I would say a lot of people are often looking for just the right collaborator. I mean, you see it with like musicians, like producer collaborators with musicians. They just find that right partner and then they work together. For me, my mom is very strategic. She's always thinking about how to solve a problem, and she's like numbers orientated. Like I think they're like really good at
Yeah.
mathematics in
Yeah.
general.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm very creative, and I'm also really comfortable with technology and trying out new ways of making animation. And so it really works well that we've got that balance in build. And because we've always been like that, my mom has always been strategy orientated. I've always been pie in the sky every day.
She's been
So
like the anchor. Come back down, Camilla. Come back.
so it was inbuilt, and so us doing business together actually it's almost like a natural progression because of the existing relationship, and because we know um the button not to press, and also how to approach a disagreement so that we can actually agree, move forward, and then lead our team towards our goal.
Yeah.
So for the most part, it's a very positive working relationship.
Yeah.
I really found a great collaborator in my mom.
Oh,
Oh, thank you. And it's a conscious thing. We
yeah.
do it very consciously. For
Yeah.
me, it's very conscious. I'm very particular about how I relate with my daughter at work and at home. So it's a
Yeah.
very conscious thing that we
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a great thing because, like I said, not everybody can navigate, parent, child in a business type of
Mm,
thing, or even friends, business
mm,
wise, can
mm,
navigate that really well. So the fact that you know your lanes and are willing to stay in your lanes and trust each other in each other's work is
Yeah.
yes.
says a lot. It really does
Yeah.
say a lot. Um,
And I must add, there's a level of respect. Like I respect her creativity.
yeah,
She respects my strategy. There's a level of respect and rapport. And we
Mm,
just work well together. So
yeah.
that
yeah.
is awesome. That is awesome. Again, everyone that's just jumping in, having a fun conversation with Dr. T and Kabelo Maaka of Cabblow Studios, Johannesburg, South Africa. Please, like I said, like I tell everyone, this is an engaging show. So, like I said, throw in your comments. I definitely want to hear from you. But going to you for a moment, Cabela, uh, your mother said, you do medical animation, but you have a passion for other animation as well. I mean, is there other things outside of medical animations that you definitely hope to explore in animation? Like you said, you grew up on a lot of the American style animation and things like that. And like I said, I'm seeing some amazing things come from Triggerfish out of Africa. Disney just partnered with Kakugali. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of stories coming out of Africa that
Mhm.
is starting to come into the mainstream. Are there other stories that you want to explore and show to the world?
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to say before I even say that is with medical animation, I learned the power of storytelling.
Hmm.
So with our medical short films, we don't just throw facts at people. We actually give it character, heart, and story. And so when I saw that actually, Gabriel, you can make a medical story. It's just got a medical theme, but it's a story. Then I realized, oh, I can tell stories about anything,
Yeah.
and it brings us to what was happening with us recently. We went to Annecy, no, in France for the first time in person, and we got to actually pitch some of our other original concepts. We have a concept called the Mom and Daughter Cleanup Crew, where we basically turn ourselves into superheroes. It's this mom and daughter who clean up messy misunderstandings, and their superpower is the power of empathy, which is literally the ability to body swap. So when you do that, you live in somebody else's body, you learn how they live, you learn empathy, and then they with their powers are able to swap their clients back. So that was one of the concepts that we were pitching at Annecy. Another one that was part of the Women in Animation program, together with the FIAPF, which is the Film Producers Association. That program, they chose us because we had a female orientated story as well. It's called Rory Sang and the Girls. And that one is about Rory Sang, who is this grade 8 high schooler. She loves K-pop and she wants to make her own Afro pop band with her group of best friends. But the person who's standing in the way of that is their really backwards and traditional choir director. And so she's got to prove to her that Afro pop is valid and that it's this thing that the school should acknowledge, and that she wants to be a superstar at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So those are the types of projects that we're in the middle of developing right now in the studio while we earn income from medical animation. And those projects actually we're in the process of starting to share a little bit of information about it on our social media through our Patreon that we're starting.
Yeah.
Patreon. But those are the kinds of stories that I want to tell. Stories that are based off of my own experiences. They're both stories where it's got black female characters as a central character, and even if it's a situation where I turn me and my mom into superheroes and it's completely wacky, there's still filled with a purpose in it. The mom and daughter cleanup crew is about helping relationships, even though it's like this wacky superhero situation. And Rory and Girls is about sharing Afro pop and African music and African culture to the world through this musical orientated show about these teen pop stars. So there's always a purpose behind the film, and that comes from our medical animation background.
Yeah.
And then we bring it into all of our other non-medical projects.
Yeah. And I think for me, I then transitioned from being a medical doctor to a producer because we produce 5 other non-medical shots. So in total, we have 8 shots that we produced. And those were also films with the papers through our residency, where we took 5 up-and-coming directors. We mentored them over a period of 3 months to produce their own short films. So that I could then transition from just being a doctor to being a producer of non-medical films. So,
Got
so yes, I'm also dabbling in and producing non-medical films as well.
Yeah.
So was that for you, Dr. T? Was that kind of a learning curve, kind of transitioning into producing animation and that? I mean, what was the biggest kind of learning lesson for you, coming
I'm
from a
still
medical background and transitioning into an animation producer?
Yeah, I'm still learning. I'm still learning. I have a lot of mentors. The one thing though about animation that's very different from medicine is fast. It's about life. Things are critical. You make quick decisions. You make decisions. You stick to them. You keep people alive. In animation, people take their time, and that was very frustrating for me.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
I had to learn to be patient with the creatives as they are creating.
yeah.
But I think in terms of being a producer, well, I didn't know that that was my title. Thank you for it. But in terms of being a producer, um, just getting, I'm a time, I'm a time conscious person. So managing time, managing spreadsheets, managing income, doing things on time, that was just up my alley. So I'm just doing this, which I've done in medical business, I'm doing it in animation. So that has not been a very difficult thing to do. But I think I'm learning the business of doing animation. I'm learning producing. I'm expanding every day. But in terms of time management, doing things on time, and doing things excellently. My word, Cabblow Studios is whatever we do excellently. So, and that comes from medicine, because in medicine you can never, you don't second guess yourself. You have to be specific. You have to be excellent. So I brought that excellence into Cabblow Studios. So I've been able to match me being a doctor and being a producer at Cabblow, and it's fun. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also think just your background really influences our approach as the animation team. As
Yeah.
much as you say animation takes time, you can only produce a certain number of frames per day. But for us, because we're thinking about the fact that it's medical, it's current, this important information that's got to be accurate, it affects how we do our work, and also we're thinking about how can we do this as quickly as possible but as high quality as possible.
Yeah.
And then also we always talk about the terminology,
Yeah.
and also learning how deals are structured, how contracts are done.
Yeah.
Even that was something I didn't know about, and as Dr. T's been getting better as a producer, then I'm also learning about the business of animation
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well.
That definitely is a plus for you, Camilla, having somebody that's, like I said, business oriented, kind of structured in their thinking, because as creatives, like you said, we're kind of
Get
looking
pie.
squirrel, 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 all over the place for sure. Mr. Downtown DeVille, for sure, excellence done, everything done in excellence. Love that attitude and work ethic, for sure. I think a lot of people, like you said, they don't. You were saying, Dr. T, I think a lot of people don't really get how long it does take to produce something in animation. That's why, like I said, unless you see like the behind the scenes, all the work that goes in, and people, like you said, studios like Disney or Pixar, they could take 2-3 years just to do a film. And then you add on top of that what you're doing in medical animation, the fact that you have information that needs to be told accurately and in a story form kind of way even adds to it even more. And we're getting ready to take a look at their demo reel so you can see some of the great animation work that they do and the storytelling that they do. And we'll come back and talk a little more about your experience at Annecy. So, everybody, let's take a quick look at some of their work.
Do you remember when you were first diagnosed with diabetes?
It was in 1989 when I lost my first baby. I was diagnosed with sugar diabetes. It was pregnancy induced, in fact.
My name is Dr. Tshepo Maaka, aka Dr. T, and I'm the family doctor. I'm the only doctor in this family.
Thank
amazing
you.
work. Amazing work. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Before we dive into, like I said, your experience at Annecy, Cabello, like I said, obviously you love 2D. I mean, are you looking to expand, have Cabblow expand into 3D animation, or is kind of 2D the form that you kind of want to stay within?
I think because I like to draw, doing 2D animation is the natural progression. And I think 2D animation will always be something that will be a strength at Cabblow Studios. But because the medium is dependent on the story, to me, I'm open to 3D. I'm even open to stop motion. It just depends on what the project needs and then what's the most appropriate format or tool. But I do think 2D will always be something that we will be pushing to always grow and be strong at, because it's just the
Yeah.
beginning of where we started here.
Yeah.
And for everyone who watched those show reels, I hope you noticed we have lots of brown skinned characters in our films. So, just that's a little bit of a passion of mine there to make sure that my people are
Hey,
represented.
that's what I
Absolutely.
love, love about it. Mr. DeVille, I agree. Such great work, for sure. Um, and I, from both of you, I want to hear, like I said, what your experience was attending Annecy. Like I said, I had on a guest a couple of weeks ago, Carlos Gaxiola, awesome animator, or awesome. He has an awesome studio in Mexico, and they do a lot of 2D, and work with a lot of studios. And he was going over to Annecy, so I'm looking forward to hearing his kind of take and what he pulled away from Annecy. So it's obviously a big festival.
Yeah.
So what was both of your experiences like attending it, and kind of what did you pull from it,
Let me start first.
Yeah.
As a medical doctor, there were too many people immediately after, while we're still doing COVID-19. The
Well,
pandemic is
I
still
hope they
going
had
on. There
mask.
were
Well,
just
they
too
may
many
not have
people.
had mask requirements. Maybe not.
Without wearing masks. That was my first concern. I tell you, the whole week, she knows. I was wearing my mask, but I was so concerned. There were just too many people, and I kept on talking about COVID-19, COVID. I couldn't let it go.
But that's a good thing, because I think people have gotten lax about it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's starting to crop back up here in the
Yeah.
States.
Yeah.
Because people are just, like I said, getting comfortable. It's over, or they're just kind
Yeah.
of getting lax about the fact that COVID is still around, and still having issues.
Yeah. So for me, I could see it as I was walking through it, and it's like I was aware of COVID-19. I was aware of it. So that's the first thing, and most important thing, because I'm in the health space. But I think from the festival and the because they have a market called MIPA. Kabelo says I'm very strategic. We planned beforehand, I think from April, what we're going to do and see what we're going to achieve, who we were going to meet with. Let me tell you, everybody except one person we met with at Annecy. Our objective were completely met. I'm that
Awesome.
kind of person. So we met producers, we met studios, we met everybody that we needed to meet with. But for me, the highlight was because we went with the women, story by women in animation there, and we got to pitch to Disney Animation, and we got to pitch to a boutique studio in Canada, and they loved our project. That for me was the highlight of the trip at Annecy. We were able to create something that the international market likes, that could embrace, that are looking to to take further. And so for me, I am really looking forward to talking some more with the broadcasters, the studios, the producers, the investors, to make our projects a reality. And then I also met two mentors that will mentor me as a producer, and I liked them. I liked because we spoke the same language. Because, like I said earlier, I'm still learning as a producer in animation, and so for me to be able to meet some of the hardest working people in Hollywood that are willing to mentor me to make me a better producer, to produce characters, black characters in the films that we're working on, we're developing. That for me was the plus. And I don't want to take too much from you because I also wanted to share. But we also met studios from Ireland that we want to work with. So I'll also be following that. For me, it was an excellent experience. It was summer, it was hot, and yet there was still COVID-19.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Annecy, and because we came there with like this business mind that we're going there to explore opportunities to sell our projects and to possibly find collaborators for co-production. I really feel like we actually made that objective. And I also was able to attend one of the master classes as well. Masaki Yuasa, who's a famous Japanese director, I was able to attend his master class. And of course, Women in Animation, we attended a lot of their things as well. For me, it was a really great opportunity to recognize that I can do this pitching thing. You know, I was like I was ready when people are like, tell us about your project. I was there. I had my 30-second pitch or I had my little tablet with my really cool presentation.
Yeah.
I was ready. And so I really enjoyed that experience of being able to actually sell my shows, sell my projects, get feedback, and recognize that, hey, I can actually do this thing. And I'm actually quite a decent storyteller. And where there are areas to improve, people were very willing to give their input
Yeah.
to see how our projects can be even better than what they were.
Yeah.
And also just finding that people are so embracing of us as Africans, as these diverse storytellers, and that they're like, yeah, no, we're waiting. We want to see what you guys have to say, and then we, where it's appropriate, we'll give the resources to make the project happen. So it was a very positive experience. The animation industry is very kind, like very nice, warm
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I got to meet one of my favorite YouTubers, Howard Wilkers. I was a bit of a fangirl of that. And just meeting lots of different kinds of collaborators, lots of different artists. So I feel like we're still processing, we're still following up with people, but NSC was all around a very positive experience for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we came to sell. I remember we sent out like this email saying, "Hi, Cabblow Studios, come to MIFA, meet us." We sent like 2,500 emails to people to come and visit us at the South Africa stand. So we did not play. We didn't come to play.
Oh yeah. No, we just showed that Africans, people of color, we're not there to play. We
No.
went there and we were so busy. I didn't have time to attend any screenings. Maybe I attended one or two talks. We were really, really busy, had a lot of meetings. And I think one of the other things that I picked up was that people from Disney are just people, you know, the executive just people, because we had an opportunity to sit with executives and talk about our show. And
Yeah.
it also gave me the comfort that I can be able to approach them and who to approach and how to approach. Honestly, for me, was excellent.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that was one of the big points that, Carlos was stressing, that you build in a lot of relationships, make a lot of connections.
Yeah.
Really, that's the whole purpose of really going to these events, is to build relationships with people and
Yeah.
and build these connections to people that you should know within the industry. I'm curious, like I said, we're starting to see, just a lot of, great studios, great creators start to come from Africa. What are you kind of hoping, along with Cabblow, that people kind of see from the outside, looking at Africa, what are you hoping people, kind of realize about Africa that we may not know or may not be aware of or may think different? Because I've heard several things from a lot of a lot of the of my African guests that I've had on. They've said a lot of different things, like we have misconceptions. Africa is in the jungle, or lions or tigers running around. So, I mean, what are you hoping? And that's why excites me is all the stories, the different stories that are coming out, all in film, in game, just so many different creative areas. That's what really I find really exciting, and have a passion for sharing with the world, that there are a lot of different creatives over in the motherland doing some very great things. What do you kind of what one misconception, and I'll start it with this. What one misconception do you think that we have about about Africa, and what are the stories that you're hoping that we pull from?
Let me take maybe just start about something that happened to me when I went to Georgetown University when I was doing a thesis project for a program that I was studying at university. And somebody asked, "Do you in Africa operate at the back of an elephant?" And I'm like, "No." We have operating theaters like everybody, where we operate people,
Holy moly!
emergency rooms, and things like that. So, the misconceptions, I think, that maybe we cannot look, it's a growing industry. We still have a long way to go, but we have authentic stories. We have stories that we as Africans uh, that we have never heard of before, that we want to tell. And we can only tell our stories. The stories from Africa can only be told well if they are told by African people.
Yeah,
And so let us let you in onto what it is that Africa has to offer. And so that you don't have misconceptions like, do you operate at the back of an elephant? That, Africa has people, Africa has stories, Africa has characters that can be animated and
yeah,
be seen on the screen.
I think for me, it's two things. One is that the power of media.
Yeah.
The reason why somebody will ask you a question like that and not think it's silly
Mhm.
is because they haven't seen enough depictions
Yeah.
of us in our day to day lives.
Yeah.
lives.
And so
Yeah,
when they watch a film and they keep seeing people in the safari wearing the traditional clothing and the lions and everything, they don't realize that, yeah, we're terrified of lions too. They're in their nature reserve. They don't live with us in the city. We also have to go and see them ourselves. So it just, for me, it's just how powerful it is if we have more stories of all kinds of Africans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It then changes the perception of our continent. And
Mhm.
for me, the perception that I want people to have is that we are very capable.
yeah,
We can do the work, even if our industries are still growing, even if we're still learning about different technologies. The African spirit is a spirit that's full of ingenuity and determination.
yeah,
So where we might not have 100 years of history of the film industry, or we might not have certain technologies that might exist, because it takes time for some of those things to come to different countries.
yeah,
What we do have is a determination, and
yeah,
it's whatever tools I have currently is what I'm going to use to get
yeah,
to where I'm going.
yeah.
And that's truly the African spirit. We are always making do with what we have,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
And I think
And I
that,
think it's even a black
yeah,
spirit
and I
as a
think that as blacks, we've kind of picked that up. We make do with the things that we've had. That's, I think, the one big trait that, us as black Americans have brought from our home country, that we make do with the little that we have, and just make it and we do it with excellence. So that's
Yeah.
why, like I said, it surprises a lot of people when we get into a certain space that we just shine, because we are that way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I think Africans want to see themselves on screen. They want to see themselves in animated form.
Yeah.
And I like what you just said, Lord, that we work hard, yes, we make do with what we have. We want to see ourselves on screen. And I think what we want to see at Cabblow Studios is to change the future by creating characters that young ones can see so that in the future they can be able to participate in this industry. I remember there was in my family, they were saying, "You are allowing your daughter to do animation cartoons," and they were taking it as serious. But I wanted to show them that you can make a living out of animation. And so we at Cabblow Studios, we endeavor to create to create films with characters such that other people that are coming behind Kabelo and them can be able to then also aspire to create more stories because they've seen themselves on screen.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add the last thing in going back to what I said about we make do with what I have, what we have, and practically showing the world that we can take on projects, we can do the work. If we need to do X amount of episodes, that's I really want the world to see that. Yeah, we can do it. Come, just ask us, try us, we can do it. We are definitely capable of practically doing the work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Question from Mr. DeMille there. On the continent of Africa, where would you say is the animation community the most prevalent? I would think Johannesburg or Lagos.
Okay.
Look, I
That's a
think
good
it's
question.
a very good question. But I think in terms of, I'm watching the Nigerians and I have to be very careful with this answer. But I think that the industry in South Africa is very well developed. So we are far ahead on the African continent. Triggerfish is in Cape Town. We are in Johannesburg. So in terms of the animation industry on the continent, South Africa is far ahead. There's a lot of government support. There's a lot of
Of
animation
tax incentives as
tax
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah,
incentives,
yeah,
yes. There's a lot of animation tools. But when I look at people from Nigeria, they are churning out content. They are
yeah,
getting into contracts. I
yeah,
mean, they sign up. You just said something earlier on about Netflix deal. So
yeah,
I'm watching,
yeah.
I'm watching people from Lagos. I'm
Nigeria, yeah,
watching people from Nigeria, and we have friends there that we hope in the future will be able to work with because we are together on the African continent and we want to do amazing work together. And so I'm watching the Nigerians closely because they are really working
yeah.
hard. And
They
if
are.
we are not careful, they might just surpass us. So I'm
Yeah,
watching them
yeah. I've
close.
had quite
Yeah.
a few Nigerians and people from Lagos. They're like you said, are churning out some awesome work, such great work. Um, it, I'm trying to, and everybody, I really am trying to be cognizant of the time because of the time difference over there. We are already into an hour, but you can see how when the conversation goes, uh, it can just go. And so, like I said,
Yeah.
again, I want to thank you ladies for hanging in with us. But you made a point, Dr. T, that I want to kind of ask you about. Um, and I don't want to get too deep into the political thing, but there is an aspect of that because over here in the states, we do have the political the government does get behind a lot of the studios. Do you feel like that's and like you just said over in South Africa in that region, they've got government support and a lot of programs and things like that. Do you feel like that's kind of the thing that's got to expand even further into the continent, the government really putting into the industry to bring the industry there so you have more schools, more programs, and so you're not necessarily having to come over here to attend a school or go to France to attend a school, that you have the infrastructure there to really get into the hands of the creatives that are there.
Absolutely. A very, very, very great question. Let me tell you, I am very proud of the South African government. There's something called the National Film and Video Foundation, which supports the creative arts. And I think animation slowly in the last few years, maybe 2 to 3 years. I mean, one of our projects that we took to Annecy got development funding from the same institution, the NFVF. So we do have government support. But then, of course, animation is very expensive. We would love to have the support expanded because it takes a lot of money to make animation. But South Africa has various facets of support at different levels. There's grants, there is loans, there is a whole lot of support. So, and that is not the same with the rest of the continent. I always hear people from Nigeria that we wish we had what South Africa has, and I think that's the difference in the development of the industry in South Africa is because of the support. So Cabblow Studios, in 3 teaspoons of sugar, got support from the Gauteng Film Commission, which is a province where, or a county where Johannesburg is. We got the funding to do that film. So we have various supports at different levels, at various levels. And then, of course, the schools, which Kabelo can talk to because she went to one of them in South Africa. Not only that, the government also supports you to go and study elsewhere in the world. So there is funding for you to go study in France, funding for you to go study overseas. If you want to go to Cal Arts, for instance, you can get funding from our own government here to go study overseas. So for me, the support is there, but I would like to see a little bit more because of the cost of animation and what it takes to really build a studio. Did I cover everything?
Yeah, I was also gonna say, the government, they consider animation a skill. That's the term that they use. And so the reason why they're now making efforts towards trying to develop the industry a little bit more is that they consider the skill rare and a skill that once somebody has it, it can be a really effective tool in creating employment. So there is attention and focus on animation. I was going to say, though, that like countries like Ireland or countries like Canada, one of the reasons why their industries are so robust is the government has made it easier to do business in those countries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether the fact that they offer certain tax incentives or they make it simple to actually go there and register your company and make sure that you hire Irish people and then you get certificates from there. So I think that's also another way that our country and other African countries can just learn from other countries and see, okay, if we're going to do government support, what has worked elsewhere and how much of that solution is appropriate for our context. But I also think as creators, not to solely rely on government support because the government can only take you so far because the government has to take care of everything else in the country.
Yeah.
And so make the most of whatever government support you have and then use that to take yourself further and then actually engage with private business and all of that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm finding needs to be the strategy. Is wherever they can support you, make the most of that support, but then you got to do other things to make sure you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also when you're black and female, you tend to get the support than if you're maybe black and male or maybe white and male. So there is, for us as a studio, as a studio led by 2 females, we're really at an advantage where the government is concerned, and we're very appreciative of that support.
Awesome, awesome. Again, everybody that's just jumping in, tuning in, we're having a very fun and interesting conversation with my friends Dr. T and her daughter Kabelo with Cabblow Studios out of Johannesburg. And trust me, I got just so many questions I can dive into. But again, in the back of my head, I'm thinking time, because everybody is a 7-hour time difference, so that it is late in the evening there. So again, I have to say thank you for staying up and having this engaging conversation because, like I said, for me, it's fascinating. One, because I love the industry, but then two, of course, there's just this connection that I have with, the motherland and just black creatives, and especially over in the continent of Africa. Like I said, I've had so many guests and made so many friends with creators over there, and I always have a fascinating conversation about just the different perspectives of the industry over here versus the industry over there. And with your time in Annecy, like you said, you're starting to see a lot of studios really start to get hungry for it. Is there, on the one hand, this thought of, like you said, these big studios kind of taking the story and twisting it in their own way, or really being open to allowing you to have control of the story to tell it in your way, authentically control? Because like I said, I've had this conversation with not just African creatives, but just creatives as a whole, being control of their own being in control of their own IP and content. And now I like to say this is a great time for creators, because there's so many different channels of getting your work out there that you don't necessarily, and I think that's what a lot of the studios are starting to see, that there are these different channels where they can bypass Disney or that, to distribute their content out there, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Instagram, whether it's all these streaming platforms that are starting to come up. So for you, is that something that you keep in the back of your head as well, that we are in this time where we can pretty much get our content around the world, ourselves, through all this media, social media, and different avenues out there?
Do you want to go or
Go first. It's fine.
something I've been telling the team a lot this year is we're making this project. That's what I keep telling them. Like, we're making this. Whether it gets made because we pitch and then somebody gives us green light and then we make it with them that way, or it's a co-production, or we get some funding and then we self-produce and release it online. Whatever method, I'm flexible about the method, but I'm very firm on the goal. The goal is this is getting made.
Yeah.
And the reason why I've kind of decided to become that way is, if I keep waiting for people to give me permission to make the things that I want to make, or to affirm my decision that this project I'm trying to make is cool, it's never going to get made, because I keep waiting for other people to confirm this to me.
Yeah.
But with the experience at Amnesty, I learned two things: that there is actually an openness and a willingness to have the original creator's voice and influence stay within the project.
Yeah.
But you've got to make sure you're constantly negotiating that situation, because you can easily get lost in the influence of whoever's mentoring you through that project.
Yeah.
But there is an openness and a willingness, because of your fresh perspective as a creator, um, to work on that. But then I also realized that it's okay to let go of IP for the sake of having had that finished project, so that my next project I've got more to negotiate with. So I realized, Camilo, you can always come up with a good idea. So if this is the one project where you're selling it and you are sacrificing keeping that IP for the sake of having the big boost that comes from working with an established existing brand, and the promotion that comes from that, and the influence, and I guess even clout that comes from that, then I'm actually willing to give away that IP with however we negotiate our contracts, for the sake of having that influence. Because, like I said, I'm making the project. However I make it, it's getting made. But in the back of my mind, I also know there's some IP that I probably will never give away. And so I have to make sure I'm doing other things to make sure that I've put in the money, the time. I've even made sure that the project has its own existing following, even, so that when I come into a room, I can confidently say, "This is why I'm keeping the majority of the IP," and then I can list confidently X, Y, and Z reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I must say, as a mother, you have matured in that answer for an IP, because we used to be like, no, I'm not giving away my IP. I'm not giving away my IP. So I'm glad to hear that you have now articulated the way that you have, which is correct. But I also, during our negotiations at Honesty, we got to be comfortable that we shouldn't allow ourselves to be too flexible with our IP, so that you lose the authenticity of the story. So we will be allowed to keep the authenticity of the story. So, of course, we negotiate contracts, and you might have to give away the IP. But if you, one thing that we were advised was, don't be too flexible, so that you lose the authenticity of your story.
Yeah, yeah. I think you made a great point. I think a lot of people kind of get, wrapped up in the, like you said, the just get enamored with, oh, I'm working with Disney, or I'm working with Netflix, or I'm working with this, and get blinded by, like you said, the details of what are in a lot of contracts, of what you
Yeah.
have to give up, or are forced to give up. And like I said, I just had this conversation actually with next week's guest. We kind of talked a little bit about this, how easy it is for creators to get lost in the fine details of the legalities of how businesses really work. So just really, which is why it's great, Kabelo, that you have a mom like Dr. T that is really kind of keeping you grounded on knowing the business side of what's going on with your content and your work. Um, Deborah, I know, Black woman animator, appreciate you.
Hey, Deborah.
Similar to the concept that your first house and your dream house are not the same thing. Your starter home is a building block to the future. Such profound words, Deborah, for sure. Again, everybody, like I said, man, I could go on and on and on. I really can, but but I really have tried to be respectful to my guests for sure. So I am, like I said, we are already an hour and 15 minutes into this. Even though they said before the show, hey, if it kind of rolls on, you're good with it. I definitely want to be respectful of that. And like I said, it gives me an opportunity for sure to bring you back on, for sure. Yeah, she says, "Hey, Maaka family." Deborah is one of those big players in the industry. There, I love Deborah for sure. She's
We love her too.
such a fun person.
Yeah.
Like I said, and I'm gonna wrap it up because, like I said, I do want to be respectful, but I do have kind of one final question for the both of you. What kind of advice would you give to that person that's coming up behind you, especially that African creator, that African producer that is thinking about getting into this industry? What would you say to them?
Um, for me, learn as much as you can, especially from the business aspect of animation. Expose yourself to as much as you can, you know. Um, Attend festivals, attend business markets, kids screen, honesty, and so on. Listen to podcasts, expose yourself as much as you can. Because one thing that I realize, and Kabelo will talk from a creative point of view, one thing I realize is that in terms of the business of animation, there is still a lot that needs to be done, especially for us on the African continent. A lot of people even yesterday, somebody sent me a message to say, can you please just hold my hand in terms of business of animation? Where do I go? How do I, um, uh, become a producer? Excuse me. So I think, as a medical person and as a business person, I had 5 mentors that held my hand as a business, as a person doing business in medicine, and I'm doing the same in animation. I have now 3 mentors that I can go to and ask and be accountable to, so that I can then become the best producer, the best business person in animation for Cabblow Studios. And so I would advise those that are aspiring to be in a position like mine, that come from a different industry, to then have mentors and then expose yourself and learn as much as I can. Look, at Cabblow Studios, I'm the oldest. Everybody is young. And be open to learn from even younger people, because I've learned a lot from the team at Cabblow Studios.
I mean, I think for me, it kind of goes back to how or how I ended up even starting Cabblow Studios. I was really struggling to find work and internship. In South Africa, the live action industry is a little bit more developed than the animation and VFX industry. And so even if I was like getting interviewed things, I wouldn't get picked because I was too into animation and not too into live action. And so then I decided, you know what, Gabriela, start Cabblow Studios, hire yourself, don't be a statistic, and then let's see where it goes from here. So I would say my advice for any African creative or the diaspora is choose yourself. And choosing yourself could mean starting a studio like what I've done, or choosing yourself could mean when you see an opportunity and you can see you've got the skills, even if you feel a little bit shy to put yourself forward for that opportunity, because you never know where it will lead you and how positive that experience is actually going to be to grow you artistically. So I would say choose yourself. And in fact, you have to choose yourself first before somebody else can choose you.
Yeah.
So get used to picking yourself. That's the first one for me. And then the second one is similar to yours, Dr. T. Stay learning. I find if I'm not working on an animation project, if I'm not trying out a new exercise that I've seen on YouTube, if I'm not growing and improving artistically, I'm
Yeah.
stagnant. So stay learning. So learn about camera angles and lenses and how you can depict that with animation. Learn about how different like roles and jobs in the industry actually work. Stay learning. Listen to this podcast. Listen to Deborah's podcast. Listen to my podcast.
Yes.
So you can stay learning. Just
Yeah.
always stay learning, so you don't stay stagnant. So you don't become stagnant.
No, such profound words for sure. Definitely always be in a state of growth, because if you're not growing, you're dying. There is no in between.
Yeah.
For sure. Mr. Downtown DeMille, for sure. Well said. Mentors are so vitally important to
Yeah.
any, whatever it is that you're doing. Always find somebody that's paved the way before you to help you kind of sidestep those pots and rocks that you would otherwise probably hit, for sure. Um, again,
Sorry to just
no,
interject. Maybe one of the things that I can add is that, because a lot of creatives learn and teach themselves, but you can also go to school.
yeah,
Because Kabelo has been invited to go do a master's in France.
yeah.
And I'm like, you know what?
I'm always joking.
Good
I'm always like, I'm also gonna be Dr. Maaka, but a doctor of
of
animation.
animation.
But when I never took it seriously. Now everybody's like,
Hey,
okay, do your master's, do your PhD.
trust me,
Oh,
there
yeah.
are some doctors of in the animation field for sure. So it is not
So,
something
so
far fetched.
she has an invitation to do a master's and she has an invitation to do a PhD. So, but you can also go and do formal learning in animation. And I'm watching. I wanted to be a doctor of animation.
Well said for sure. Mr. DeVille, yeah, that did deserve a bomb drop, but the way the scenes are laid out, it would kind of cover. Well, heck, I'm gonna do it anyway, just because that does deserve a bomb drop. The knowledge that they share always deserves a bomb drop. So thank you, Deville, for reminding me of that, and I appreciate it for sure. Black animation. My dad is a PhD. I will not follow. But a PhD of what, Deborah? Like I said, a PhD of what? If you got your doctorate or bachelor's degree in art and animation, hey, you be proud to say that. I'm a doctor of animation. That's what it depends on. What's he a PhD of? And everybody, we have been having such a fun conversation for sure with Dr. T and her super talented daughter and founder, Kabelo of Cabblow Studios. Like I said, I could go on and on and on, but obviously this gives me an opportunity to bring them back on for another episode for sure. But make sure that you do connect with Dr. T and Cabblow on all their social platforms. You can check out their YouTube channel. Check them out on Instagram, Facebook. Check out the website where you can see even more work and what they're doing. Like I said, I have no doubt, even outside of Annecy, that there's going to be some great stuff coming from Cabblow Studios. So super excited, like I said, to see the work that's going to be coming out from there. One, to, like I said, have you back on. And I'm just, like I told both of you ladies, I'm just so thankful that we connected, built a friendship. Like I was just telling them before, now I got somebody to really show me around Johannesburg when I come to visit. That's the beauty of making this show, building the friendships. It's allowed me to build and make friends with people all over the world, so that now I have people to visit, places to go, and really just build a great community. So that's why I encourage everybody that watches the show, get plugged in, because you meet and connect with so many great people here in the Color of Motion, not just in the Color of Motion, but like I said, Cabblow's podcast, Deborah's podcast. Get plugged into the community, because that's how you build relationships and build these connections for sure. Again, Dr. T. Kabelo, thank you so much for giving me this time, because again, I am fully aware that it is very late over there, and so I can't thank you enough for staying on and really kind of sharing with the community your knowledge, your talent, what's coming from Cabblow Studios, and what's coming from the content of Africa, like I like to say, the motherland, my motherland here. I'm always happy to highlight and bring to the forefront, for sure. Typically, I would say to the guests, if you could hang out in the green room for just a second while I close out the show, I would much appreciate it. But I would understand if it's too late for you to hang out for a minute while I close out the show, so I could talk to you afterwards.
No, we'll hang out.
Yeah,
We'll
no
hang out.
problem.
It's okay.
I appreciate that.
And then thank you for having us.
Yes,
We'll
yes.
hang out.
This
Thank
was so
you
much fun.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
And I didn't yawn once, so I didn't even
Hey,
yawn,
the
'cause
hot
yawning
chocolate
could
must
have
have
said-
worked. Hopefully, partly in do with an engaging and fun conversation as well. I thank all the guests for making it an engaging place, or not the guests, but the viewers. I thank all the viewers for making it an engaging place for the guests. really interacting with them, asking them questions, because like I said, that's what the show is really about: connecting, asking the questions that are in your head. Like I said, for me, it's a it's partly selfish. I get to learn and pick the brains of people that are in the industry doing things as well. So outside of building relationships, it's always a learning thing for me. So thank you so much for being on the show and making it a great episode and making the Color of Motion just another great place.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much.
Everybody, please, again, help me thank my guest, Dr. T and Cabblow Studios. Again, if you can hang out for just a quick second while I close out the show. Thank you so, so, so much. Everybody, this has been a great episode. Like I said, while I was doing it, I was trying to keep it in the back of my mind, be quick about it, be quick about it, be quick about it because of the time difference. So I was trying to keep it moving, but as you can see, when the conversation is going as well and as fun as it is, time can just kind of roll on. So with that, like I said, I do appreciate people sticking around. Before I go, we definitely have to, like I said, announce the winners of our giveaway in celebration of our new partnership with Toon Boom Animations. I know that's what everybody's been kind of waiting for sure. So I definitely want to, like I said, not make people wait for sure. So we're going to start this celebration and thing off right and give our winners, hey, a big shout out and plug. The first giveaway for our Toon Boom, let me make sure I'm in the right spot here. For our Toon Boom giveaway is for, wait, I want to get on the right scene here. So, for sure, is it right or left? It's left. Yes, for our Toon Boom giveaway for a 1-year subscription to Harmony 21. Like I said, Toon Boom has just been amazing so far. And we were just talking with Kabelo before the show. They are starting to incorporate Toon Boom into their studio, doing 2D animation. It is an amazing software to create some 2D animation for sure. So they are definitely a big player in the industry. And I'm sure, I think they did say that they were at Annecy, which I know they were at Annecy, Toon Boom. So they are just, like I said, they are just the studio standard for 2D, creating 2D animation and everything. So in celebration of our partnership with them, they have given us 2 licenses to give away. The first is a 1-year subscription to their Harmony 21, and it is Mr. Raul Dunkley. You have won a 1-year subscription to Harmony 21. I'm going to be reaching out to both the winners to get the information that I need to get to Toon Boom to activate your licenses and everything. But Raul, you have won a 1-year subscription to Harmony 21. Big ups to you, my brother. My Jamaican connection. Like I said, I've been connecting with, he is here today. Irie, awesome, brother. You have won 1-year subscription to Harmony 21. Like I said, that's why I love doing this show, because I can connect with so many people around the world doing some great things. My island brother, for sure, Jamaica. I appreciate you there, Mr. Raul, for always supporting the show and being such a great creative. Looking forward to getting you on the show. I think I probably will try to reach out to the winners to have them on the show and have them talk about Toon Boom. Our next giveaway is for Storyboard Pro. Another great software from Toon Boom that allows you to create some amazing storyboards. It all starts with the storyboard. Well, it starts with the story, then you take it into the storyboard. So, hey. But it's a great software. So super excited to announce the winner of this. So, without further ado, the winner for a 1-year subscription to Storyboard Pro is Mr. Eric Fiumano. You are the winner of a 1-year subscription to Storyboard Pro. Man, Eric, appreciate you. And I think I'm gonna do this right here because I think I spelled I put a C in his name. It's Eric, but it's without the C. So, Eric, you got a 1-year subscription. I am super excited, super thankful to Toon Boom for being a partner, getting behind the show, allowing us to give away 2 of their licenses of their amazing software. I am going to be reaching out to you, Eric, and you, Raul, to get the information needed to pass on to Toon Boom so they can activate your licenses. But I am so looking forward to do even more fun giveaways as we bring on new sponsors, as we just move forward in this show for sure. So congratulations, Eric. Congratulations, Raul. Thank you so much, everyone that participated in the giveaway. Again, there's going to be more giveaways, so not to worry. We're going to have a lot more fun giveaways for sure. So big ups to our sponsor, Toon Boom, for just, being a great sponsor. So, man, again, this has been, like I said, a fun episode. I can't thank, again, my guests enough for just being a part of it. And, hey, you, the viewer, for being a part of the show. Can't thank you enough. Like I said, we got a lot of big things planned for Season 2. It is motoring along. You definitely want to make sure that you tune in. I appreciate you there, Raul. Again, congratulations for sure, my brother. You definitely want to make sure that you tune in next week because, like I said, this is another great episode that I'm so looking forward to. My next guest next week, Mr. Joseph Philip Illich, executive editor with Heavy Metal Magazine and founder of Illuminous Studios, putting out some amazing comic books and content. And it was just a long time coming. I've been trying to get him on since Season 1. Schedules just didn't align. We finally got a chance to get everything together. So I'm so looking forward to the interview with him next Saturday. So you don't want to miss out on that because it's going to be a great one for sure. Also, which I'll probably be telling you more about, I'm going to be doing a special Sunday live stream from the Houston Comic Palooza. I just was told a couple of weeks ago that I'll be able to live stream, speak on a couple of panels at the Houston Comic Palooza. So I'm looking forward to doing that the next day, Sunday. But the caveat is it's only going to be streamed from the Facebook Color of Motion group. I may put up content on some of the other channels afterwards, but live stream, it's only going to be live streamed from the Facebook Color of Motion group. So that's the only place that you'll be able to check out the live streams from. But I'm super looking forward to being a part of that. I attended last year's Houston Comic Palooza, my first Comic-Con. It was awesome. So I can't stress it enough, and I'm so super looking forward to bringing that to you. With that, I'm going to close this out because, like I said, it's just been an amazing show, and I want to thank my guests again for hanging in there with me because it's late over there where they're at, but I had to bring them on and had to have them on live because they are such special women. So thank you again, Dr. T and Kabelo, for being on. Thank you, the viewer, for hanging in with me. I will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Have a great week, everyone. Cheers.